Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Georgetown High School and Eagle Field for tonight's ball game between your Georgetown Eagles and the Connally Cougars. I'm Wally Hartman here for SHN Sports, and Game 2 of district play comes your way now from Eagle Field at Georgetown High School. The Connally Cougars come into Georgetown tonight in Game 2 of their matchup last night. Your Eagles won it 14-2 on the road at Connally. Come back here tonight to take on the Connally Cougars for the second time in district play. The different setup in district this year for I would assume all districts, but that we're experiencing. Instead of running one time through the district and then another time through the district, now these teams will play back-to-back ball games. And so you'll experience each team's full bullpen, really, in those two ball games. An opportunity. You won't face that ace pitcher 2 times, 3 times, like Coach Vieira talked about last night in multiple visits against teams like Cedar Park and Liberty Hill, and teams like that are loaded with a couple of great pitchers, and you're going to face that ace as you go through the lineup, the district 2 times. This time you face it back-to-back. Tuesdays and Fridays are your typical days that you'll face each other. This week, Tuesday and Wednesday, due to the spring break and moving tomorrow night's ball game to last night due to the impending bad weather tomorrow night. The Eagles were victorious, and they moved to 6-10-1 overall on the year, but more importantly, they moved to 1-0 in district play. The Connally Cougars dropped to 4-8 overall and 0-1 in district play. The only other ball game that was played last night and got moved as well was Cedar Creek and Henderson. And I talked to Coach about it before the game. We were discussing about the teams and records of everyone before district. Henderson was sitting atop everything, 12-1-1 on the year. And Cedar Creek was sitting at 6-10 on the year. And Cedar Creek went into Henderson and won the ball game last night, 4-3. So Henderson drops to 0-1 in district play. Cedar Creek, the only other team with a win in district, as well as your Eagles 1-0. Tonight, a full slate of ball games here for District 23. Eastview is on the road at Elgin, Pflugerville on the road at Bastrop, Hendrickson on the road at Cedar Creek, and Connally, of course, here at Georgetown for the second matchup. Tomorrow, the ball games scheduled are Elgin at Eastview and Bastrop at Pflugerville. So we'll have to find some time to see if they get that in maybe on Friday. Not sure what they're going to do. Just depends on the weather and how it reacts, but a couple of the games got moved. Those coaches kind of getting it ahead. Might as well knock it out now. The kids get an extra day of spring break before they come back in next week. And then next week we go to the normal schedule of what you see in district play. Tuesday, Friday matchup. Georgetown will go this way after playing against Connally yesterday and today. Next week it'll be at Pflugerville on Tuesday, and then home on Friday against the Pflugerville Panthers. And then the week following, the last week in March, we will be at Elgin on the 28th on Tuesday, and then at home against Elgin on the 31st. And then the following schools, Hendrickson, Cedar Creek, Eastview, and we'll end the year with a 2-game stand with the Bastrop Bears to end district play. And so a different matchup, a different look. And so tonight, who else will go and what will come for the Connally Cougars? What will come for your Georgetown Eagles? Head-to-head, out of these schools fair, Georgetown leads this series now 9-0 in the head-to-head battle between Pflugerville, Connally, and Georgetown High School. The last meeting, of course, last night, 14-2. Your Eagles victorious to open up District 23 play. The Connally Cougars, Henderson High School is in the Pflugerville ISD. Their superintendent, Dr. Douglas Killian. The principal in Connally High School, Paula Gamble. Athletic director for Pflugerville ISD, Mike McCurtain. Athletic coordinator for Henderson High School, Jason Cecil. And the athletic trainers, Kelsey Timmons and Katie Ostrobecki. The coaches for the Connally Cougars, head coach is David Williams. His assistant coaches, Corey Stevens, Corey Colhane, and Noe Garcia. We'll go to the starting lineup for the Connally Cougars. Once I can pull up my screen, and there it is. And the starting lineup for the Connally Cougars, as selected by head coach David Williams. Leading off and on the mound is number 4, Felix Salazar. Batting second, playing shortstop, number 7, Alvaro Ruiz. Batting third and catching, number 13, Diego Arispe. Batting fourth, playing second base, number 2, Cesar Arispe. Batting fifth, playing center field, number 5, David De La Rosa. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 9, Jesse Barroso. Batting seventh, playing first base, number 8, Miles Pica. Batting eighth, playing third base, number 14, Antoine Scholes. And batting ninth and playing left field, number 15, Juan Rojas. for the Cougars. So Salazar, Ruiz, Arizpe in the top third, Arizpe, De La Rosa, Barroso in the middle third, Pica, Scholes, and Rojas the bottom third for the Cougar lineup. Your Georgetown Eagles are coached by head coach Jordan Vieira, his assistant coaches Chad Penn, David Durrell, Robert Hall, and the new coach this year who came on board from Cedar Park is Mike Cockrell. Georgetown High School and Georgetown Independent School District, the superintendent, Dr. Fred Brent. Georgetown principal, one of the best in the business, Mr. Brian Johnson. Athletic director for Georgetown ISD, Mr. Jason Dean. Athletic coordinator for Georgetown High School is Coach Chuck Griffin. And the athletic trainers, bar none, two of the best in the business, Chad Hennessy and Vanessa Rudeau. I even had a conversation about that, and I look at her every time and get nervous when I have to say it. Vanessa Rudeau. So the Eagles 6-10-1 on the year, 1-0 in district play. They lead the top of the district standing so far, 1-0 with the Cedar Creek Eagles. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and before long, we'll have the national anthem, and then we'll bring you the starting lineup for your Georgetown Eagles. You're listening to Georgetown Eagle Baseball live here on SHN Sports. We're back live here in the SHN broadcast booth, brought to you by Borrow from Morrow. For your mortgage needs, remember Matt Morrow from Morrow. Proud sponsor of Georgetown Eagle Baseball, borrowfrommorrow.com. And now we cannot wait any longer. The PA is a little behind. We're having technical difficulties over there. So we'll go ahead and do the starting lineup for your Georgetown Eagles. Brought to you by Georgetown Lumber and Supply. 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, Texas. Hometown service like none other. GtownLumberandSupply.com. They bring you tonight's Georgetown starting lineup as chosen by head coach Jordan Vieira. Starting it off in batting first, playing center field, number 17, Devin Peterson. Batting second and playing shortstop, number 2, Eli Hellman. Batting third, playing third base, number 4, Brady Peters. Batting fourth and playing first base, number 21, Riley Leininger. Batting fifth, playing left field, number 10, Andrew Nations. Batting sixth, playing right field, number 8, Jacob Faltasek. Batting seventh, playing second base, number 20, Talon Ball. Batting 8th and catching, number 16, Reese Herrera. Batting 9th, the designated hitter, number 11, Jackson Rainey. And on the mound for your Eagles tonight, sophomore number 18, David Fluitt. Fluitt on the mound to start things off for your Eagles. So the Eagles will go Peterson, Coleman, Peters in the top third, Leininger, Nation, Faltisek in the middle third, Ball, Herrera, and Rainey in the bottom third of the lineup. Reese Herrera doing all the work behind the plate at this point in the season after the injury to the catcher, James Pernica, senior, with a hand injury. And so Pernica out for the time being until he can heal up. And Reese Herrera doing the catching duties tonight. Leininger moves to first base as Fluitt moves to the mound tonight. Leininger was the DH for 2 at-bats last night before fouling one off of his left or his ankle. And then Jackson Rainey came in to hit the last 2 innings for the DH slot. But Leininger back in the lineup tonight, so he should be good to go. He'll be at first base. Brady Peters had a great night last night for your Eagles. He had several RBIs, 2 doubles, and walked, and a ground out RBI. He had 4 RBIs overall. The 2 big doubles. The first one of the night opened up the scoring in the top of the first for the Eagles on the double by Peters down the left field line. And so Peters back at third base, helmet at short, and Talent Ball had a good night. Second baseman from the plate. He went 2 for 3 on the night, reached on fielder's choice in his last at bat, and had a single and 2 stolen bases in the first inning, and then had a double, 2 RBI double in the third inning as well. But a good night overall for their Eagles. Not many errors, only 1 off the mound for the Eagles as Nolan Johnson fielded a bunt, had time to down to first, and pulled Fluitt off the bag. But Johnson quickly made up for that. The next runner got on base. Johnson picked him off, and so a great job by Nolan Johnson last night as he pitched well of the ball game for your Eagles. He went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, struck out 6, walked 2, hit 3 batters, but got the W there. And Kyle Robolo came in for the last out of the ball game for your Eagles. The Cougars on the road tonight and on the black pants, the green shirts with white numerals, white lettering Cougars in script lettering across the front in white with white trim on the jersey tops and the sleeves. And the helmet, the hat of choice tonight will be the black ball cap, the green visor, and the green C on the front of the uniform. Your Eagles on a special night will go over that here in between innings. They'll be in the home white pants with the blue pinstripes. And then the yellow jerseys with eagle blue numerals and lettering. They have their numbers on the back, their names above their numbers. And then on the front of it, they have Eagles in capital block print lettering. The blue Georgetown blue hat with the white G emblazoned on the front of the hat. And call out the starters for your Eagles now as they take the field. Andrew Nation's out. And here goes Jacob Faltisek, followed by Talent Ball. Herrera and Rainey will come out, and then we will move to your national anthem. A quick break, be back, national anthem, and then be ready for the first pitch. This is Georgetown Eagle Baseball Live here on SHN. Back here live in Eagle Field in the SHN broadcast booth, brought to you by Borrow from Morrow. The Eagles taking the field to warm up here in the top half of the first. David Fluid getting his warm-up pitches here with Reese Herrera behind the plate. Defensively for your Eagles, Nations in left, Peterson in center, Baltasek in right. Peters at third, Hillman at short, Talon Ball at second, Leininger at first. Herrera behind the plate, the sophomore, number 18, David Fluid on the mound for the Eagles. Fluid, the left-hander, start things out on the mound. On the year, 10.2 innings pitched. He's appeared in 3 games, started all 3 of them. And so far on the year, look across at his stats, a 3.938 ERA. He has struck out 8 on the year, walked 6, allowed 8 runs, 6 of them earned, given up 9 hits. And he has yet to factor into a decision. Now we get ready for the top of the first inning. First inning brought to you by none other than Borrow from Morrow, Matt Morrow. For all your mortgage needs, visit Matt Morrow at borrowfrommorrow.com. Fluid will lead it off on the mound for the Eagles against his counterpart. Number 4, Felix Salazar steps in from the right side for the Cougars. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it back out of play for strike 1. Felix Salazar, Alvaro Ruiz, and Diego Rizbe do up here in the top half of the first for the Connally Cougars. Fluid from the windup, 0-1 pitch. The ball sent into right center field. Baltasek, he'll lay out for it in a diving catch by Jake Baltasek for out number 1. What a play by the senior right fielder for out number 1. All 9 in the book. What a play there to close that gap in right center field. And 2 pitches and 1 out for Fluid here in the top of the first of the Eagles. And in steps Alvaro Ruiz, the shortstop tonight for the Cougars from the right side. The first pitch for Fluid, and a ball hit out towards right field. The Talon Ball drifts back onto the grass and makes the play for out number 2. No 4 in the book for Ruiz. He's retired on 1 pitch. And that'll bring up the catcher, number 13, Diego Rizbe. Rizbe will step in from the right side as well against Fluid. Rizbe last night, 1 for 3, struck out twice and had a double in the 5th. First pitch, outside corner, called strike 1. So far, 4 pitches on the inning for Fluid. He's got 2 outs and a 0-1 count to Rizbe. 0-1 pitch, low in the turf for ball 1. 1-1 the count now to the catcher for the Connally Cougars. There comes the crowd mic. And now Fluid, that's a technical difficulty. I hit the button wrong. Fluid from the windup, 1-1 pitch to Rizbe. He pops it back out of play. For strike 2, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I'd be remiss if we didn't make sure we don't forget to mention the manager, Coach Duval, number 1 Eagle fan out there, Jared Frimmer, in the dugout with the Eagles tonight. The 1-2 pitch, ground ball right back to the mound. Fluid will field it on the hop, run it over and pitch it to Leininger at first base for out number 3. And the Cougars go quietly here at the top of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on base after half an inning. Connally 0. Your Eagles coming up to bat here in a moment on SHN. finish up the warm-ups here in the top half of the first. Peterson, Hellman, and Peters do up here at the top of the first for the Eagles. Devin Peterson will step in to lead things off. He's batting 226 on the year. Has an on-base percentage of .538 and a slugging percentage of .387. 7 hits on the year, 4 singles, 2 doubles, 1 home run for the junior, Devin Peterson. Peterson has 8 RBIs on the year, scored 11 runs, walked 14 times, struck out 11. And he'll lead things off here in the top half of the first inning, or bottom half of the first inning, for the Georgetown Eagles. Salazar goes through his windup defensively for the Cougars. Rojas in left, De La Rosa in center, Barroso in right field, Scholes at third base, Ruiz at short, Caesar Arispe at second base, Pica at first, Diego Arispe behind the plate, and Felix Salazar on the mound to start things off for the Connally Cougars here in the bottom of the first. Salazar, the right-handed pitcher, and he'll getting the ball back from the throw around, gets on the mound. He'll start from the windup. 3 up, 3 down. 7 pitches thrown by Floyd in the top half of the first, and now the Eagles look to do some work here in the bottom half of the first. Last night, he did a good job of jumping on top of the Cougars. 2 runs in the top of the first and take an early lead, and never look back from there. First pitch, hit Peterson on the left elbow. Inside on the hit by pitch. Now Peterson down to first base. 1 pitch and a base runner on your Eagles. And that'll bring up the senior shortstop, number 2, Eli Hellman. Hellman steps in, 231 batting average on the year. Peterson down at first base, he'll lead off there. First pitch misses for ball 1 to Hellman. That'll be the 8th time on the season that Peterson has been hit by a pitch. So the Eagles have the leadoff man aboard here at the bottom of the first. Peterson leads on. Pica holds him on. Faked over by Salazar. Peterson dives back in. Peterson will lead right back off and on the back end for the right side. No pitch. Low and in the turn. Peterson will scramble back down the throw. Gets into right field. Peterson takes off. And he'll easily cruise into second base. On the throwing error behind the catcher, Diego Arispe. Was down the turf. Pica couldn't keep it in front of him. And so Peterson up to second base with no outs. First error of the ball game. On the Cougars on the E2. Now Hellman steps in with 2 balls and no strikes and a runner at second base in scoring position. Hellman back ready. The 2-0 pitch. Hellman's got a bunt. He butts it foul off himself in the box. So that'll bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. To the senior shortstop. Hellman back in, the 2-1 pitch. Wild pitch, didn't pass the catcher. That will allow Peterson to move up to third base. Couple of big mistakes here early for the Cougars. First wild pitch of the ball game. But now Peterson is hit by the pitch to get to first. Throwing error for Reese base. He's trying to throw back behind Peterson at first base. Got into right field, moving to second. Now the 3-1 pitch to Hellman. This is inside, ball 4. Hellman aboard, the first walk of the ball game. Issued by Salazar. Now he gets in a rundown, and that allows Peterson to score. Hellman still on the rundown between first and second, and he'll be called out there. I will not even try to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4 pickle there. He did it to score the run. So Eli gets on board with the walk, and he gets in the rundown between first and second. Scores Peterson from third base. That'll bring up Bringy Peters, number 4, the third baseman. He'll step in from the right side. Peters batting .341 on the year, steps in, face back Salazar with 1 out. First pitch, off the end of the bat, out behind second base. And Caesar to reach base, goes back into the grass area, and has to come forward and makes the catch for out number 2. P4 to the book. For out number 2, that will bring up the first baseman, number 21, Riley Leininger. The lefty will step in here. 2 outs and the base is empty. Leininger batting .216 on the year. Steps in here from the left side. Salazar back in the windup. First pitch to Leininger. Misses low for ball 1. Leininger 1 for 2 on the night last night. Walked in his first at bat. Stole second base, scored a run, and then doubled and scored a run in the fourth before coming out of the ball game. The 1-0 pitch, misses low, ball 2 to Leininger. 2-0 the count. The big left-handed hitting first baseman, Riley Leininger. Salazar looks in from the windup, the 2-0 pitch. It's in there, called strike, 2-1 the count. Salazar's 2-1 pitch. Up and in, ball 3, 3-1 the count. Leininger back in there. 3-1 pitch from Salazar. Misses outside, ball 4. Leininger will take the 2-out ball. Head down to first base. Second walk issued by Salazar here in the first inning. That'll bring up the left-handed hitting left fielder, number 10, Andrew Nations. Nations a junior as well. Two outs, Salazar back to the stretch. A look at first, now comes second, first pitch to Nations. Misses low for ball 1. 1-0 the count. For Andrew Nations, steps in 212 on the year batting average. Leininger takes off, a swing and a miss on the 1-0 pitch. Leininger will slide into second just before the throw. And Riley Leininger still second base with 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. 1-1 count now to Nations as he swung at that and missed. Even out the count. Leininger will lead off second now. 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. The 1-1 pitch. Catches the inside corner for a called strike. 1-2 now to Andrew Nations. 1 run across here at the bottom of the first for the Eagles. They have a 1-run lead now here early in the ball game. Salazar comes set, the 1-2 pitch. Nations will ground it towards first. And Pica goes right under his glove into right field. Leininger will move up to third. And the second error of the inning allows the inning to continue for the Eagles. That'll be an E3 there. It's Nations on base. Leininger will move up to third, and that'll bring up the right fielder, number 8, senior Jacob Faltasek. Faltasek will step in from the right side. Jacob batting .208 on the year. Steps in from the right side and gets the sign from Coach Vieira. Nations down at first, leads off there. Pica will hold him on. Salazar comes set, first pitch. Down in the turf, good block there by Diego Arizpe. Keep it in front of him and keep Nations in bay at first base. 1-0 the count for Faltasek. Now Nations gets a big lead at first base. Salazar comes set, now he'll throw over. Nations dives back in safely there. Runners on the corners, 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. 1-0, Georgetown leads it. Trying to push another run across here. Leininger just 90 feet away at third base. Nations off on the pitch. 1-0 pitch down in the turf. That'll allow Nations to steal second base without a throw. So now 2 runners in scoring position on a 2-0 count. To Jacob Faltasek. Faltasek steps back in from the right side. Salazar stays in the stretch, comes set. The 2-0 pitch. Low and outside, ball 3. Now a 3-0 count here to Faltasek. Salazar look in, comes set from the stretch. The 3-0 pitch. Right down Main Street, 4 called strike. 3 balls, 1 strike to Faltasek. Another hitter's count for Jacob Faltasek. 2 runners in scoring position and 2 outs here at the bottom of the first. Salazar comes set. The 3-1 pitch. Faltasek grounds it out towards third. A high hop. Scholes fills it. He's going to throw across the diamond, but not in time. So Faltasek beats it out. The throw gets away. Faltasek will advance to second base on set to move up to second base on the throwing error by Schultz. And the Eagles now a 3-run lead here in the bottom of the first. First pitch to Talon Ball. Misses for a ball. Talon Ball, a good ball game last night for the Eagles at second base. 2 for 3 on the night. Steps in here with a runner down at second, 2 outs. This one gets away. A wild pitch to the turf. All the way to the backstop. That allows Baltasek to move up to third base. Second wild pitch of the inning for Salazar. The count now 3-0 to Talon Ball. Reese Herrera, the catcher, on deck for the Eagles, the number 8 hitter in the Eagle lineup. The 3-0 pitch to Ball. In there, we're going to call it strike 3-1. Another hitter's count. Now this one for Talon Ball with 2 outs and a runner at third base. The 3-1 pitch, low and outside, good scoop by Reese Bader, keeping in front of him. The third walk issued of the inning. As runners on the corners with 2 outs here for the Eagles. Talon Ball walks down the first. And now Reese Herrera will step in. Runners on the corners and 2 outs. Salazar from the stretch, the first pitcher, low and outside, ball 1 to the catcher. Talon Ball takes off, throw down behind, call to second, third, he dives back in safely. So Talon Ball still second base, runners both in scoring position. 1-0 pitch missed outside for ball 2. 2-0 the count. To Herrera, the 2-0 pitch on the outside corner, called strike 1. 2-1 the count now. The 2-1 pitch to Herrera. Ball hit down the third baseline. A dive by Schultz. It's off his glove. But that'll be an infield single. Nice shot to keep it on the infield. The third baseman Schultz, that ball was hit down the line. He dove it, couldn't gather it in, but a base hit by Herrera. Scores Baltasek. Second hit of the inning for the Eagles. 4th run on the board. Talon Ball stays at second base. Reese Herrera, the RBI single. Herrera's 5th RBI of the year. Cord Lawrence, courtesy run for the catcher Herrera at first base. And in steps Jackson Rainey, the number 9 hitter for the Eagles, the designated hitter. He takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. A look back at second. Talon Ball returns, no throw from Salazar. And now Rainey back in from the left side. 0-1 pitch. Low and inside, a wild pitch gets past the catcher, and that'll allow both runners to move up. The third wild pitch thrown in the inning by Salazar. Costly here, now both runners in scoring position with 2 outs. 1-1 the count to Jackson Rainey. Salazar comes set from the stretch. The 1-1 pitch. Rainey takes it low and inside, ball 2. 2-1 the count. The 2-1 pitch. Misses up and out. Ball 3. And a walk for Jackson Rainey. Fourth walk of the inning by Salazar. Going to be a visit from Coach Williams. We'll take a quick timeout at Memorial Golden Baseball in a minute here on SHN. Back out of the timeout. A visit to the mound. Still here in the bottom of the first. Bases loaded for your Eagles with 2 outs. And the leadoff hitter back up for the Eagles in the bottom of the first. Devin Peterson. He was hit by a pitch at his first at bat. Steps back in here with 2 outs and the bases loaded. First pitch is a ball. The 1-0 pitch. On the outside corner, strike one. 1-1 to count. To the center fielder. The 1-1 or the 2-0 pitch now back out of play by Peterson. Nope, it was a 1-1 count. Now it's 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the call, strike 3. And the inning comes to an end on the strikeout of Peterson. But not before the Eagles get 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors. 2 errors. Make it 3 errors. So 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 errors. 3 runners left on base after 1 complete inning. The Eagles lead it 4-0 over the Connally Cougars. We'll take a timeout, try to fix this audio problem. Someone has brought to our attention. More Eagle baseball on SHN in the ball. The top of the second inning. The Connally Cougars come up to bat here. Fluid back on the mound. Second inning of work. The first pitch to Caesar Arizpe, the number 4 hitter. It's fouled off out of play for strike 1. Caesar Arizpe, David De La Rosa, Jesse Barroso due up here for the Connally Cougars. The 0-1 pitch from Fluid. Misses high and outside, ball 1. 1-1 the count. Here in the second inning, brought to you by Georgetown Lumber and Supply. The 1-1 pitch, This is high for ball 2. 2-1 now the count to Caesar Reesby, the second baseman. Fluid works from the windup. The 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch to Reesby, and a ball hit down the left field line, and it'll be in fair for a base hit. Nation's over to field it. Caesar Reesby around first, he'll hit into second and slide in safely with a leadoff double for the Cougars. A leadoff double, the first hit of the ball game, will bring up David De La Rosa. De La Rosa, the center fielder, steps in here for the Cougars with no outs and a runner on second base. Last night, De La Rosa hit by 2 pitches. And he'll step in here to face Fluid. Fluid will turn, throw toward second to Hellman. Caesar Reesby back in safely. De La Rosa from the right side comes set. Fluid from the stretch. A look back at second. The first pitch to De La Rosa. He'll square to bunt. Bunts it, but he pops it back into the screen for strike 1. So no balls, 1 strike to David De La Rosa with Jesse Barroso on deck for the Cougars. Fluid with a long look in. Gets the sign, the 0-1 pitch, squares the bunt, bunts it out right in front of the home plate. Herrera fields it, throws the first in time for out number 1. And the sacrifice bunt will move the runner Reesby up to third base. Nice bunt there by De La Rosa. He'll give himself up 2-3 on the putout for out number 1. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Jesse Barroso. Barroso steps in with 1 out and a runner on third. Barroso 0 for 2 in the ballgame last night. First pitch, check swing out in front of the mound. Fluid will field it, look at third, throw to first in time, and that will keep Reesby at third base, keep him from scoring. What a play there by Fluid to field off the mound. A look at third, and then a throw to first in time. 1-3 on the putout for out number 2. That'll bring up the first baseman, number 8, Miles Pica. Pica steps in from the right side with 2 outs and a runner on third here at the top of the second. Fluid comes set. The first pitch to Pica just misses the outside corner for ball 1. 1-0 the count to Pica. Pica back in from the right side. The 1-0 pitch fouled off, back out of play down the first baseline, and that'll even out the count at 1 ball and 1 strike to Pica. Fluid back on the mound, ready to go from the stretch. The 1-1 pitch and a ball fouled off back to the screen for strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Miles Pica. Hey, now check. Hopefully we got things straightened out audibly here on the broadcast. Sorry about that. The 1-2 pitch from Fluid. Pica swinging a miss, strike 3 for out number 3. And Fluid works out of trouble here in the top of the second. After a leadoff double by Caesar Reesby, he gets stranded at third base. And the Cougars are down here in the top of the second. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. And 1 runner left on base. In the middle of an inning and a half. 4-0, Georgetown leads it. Georgetown coming up here in the bottom of the second. They'll bring up the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Hellman, Peters, and Leininger. More baseball after this on SHN. Back here in the bottom half of the second inning. I think we've all got it worked out now. Some special effects button got hit on the board. So hopefully we're back at it. Sorry for falling behind there, but the Eagles lead it 4-0. Here as they bat in the bottom of the second. Hellman leads it off. First pitch is down on the turf for ball one. Hellman reached on a base on balls. In his first at bat, back in the first inning. Steps in here to lead things off in the bottom of the second for the Eagles. The 1-0 pitch and a ball slapped down. What a line drive caught by Scholes at third base. Hellman ripped that down the third baseline, but Scholes gloves it. L5 on the putout. What a play there by Antoine Scholes to retire Hellman, and that'll bring up the third baseman, number 4, Brady Peters. And Brady flew out, or popped out to the second baseman back in the first inning. Salazar from the windup. The first pitch to Peters skips in the turf for ball one. A 1-0 is the count to Brady Peters. Peters back in the box. Salazar from the windup. The 1-0 pitch. And he's in there for a called strike. 1-1 the count now. Salazar looks in, gets the sign. The 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball down in the turf for ball two. 2-1 now the count. To the senior third baseman, Brady Peters. Salazar from the windup. The 3-1 pitch. In there, called strike two. 2-2 now the count to Brady Peters. One out here in the bottom of the second. Salazar from the windup. The 2-2 pitch. And Peters hits it out towards second base. Cesar Arizpe up with it. Throws the first in time. 4 out, number 2. 4-3 on the putout. Retires Peters. And that'll bring up the designated, or I say it every time, the designated hitter. The first baseman, Riley Leininger. He walked in the first inning. Stole second base. Scored a run. Steps in here with 2 outs and the base is empty. In the bottom half of the second inning, brought to you by Georgetown Lumber and Supply. Hometown service like none other. GeorgetownLumberandSupply.com. The first pitch to Leininger here, and he swings, hits it into left center field. The left fielder, Rojas, on the run, and he can't get to it. It's going to hit the ground. And Leininger around first, around second. He's headed to third, and Leininger will be in there with a stand-up triple. Ball now comes in. Leininger got a hold of it. Rojas gave chase. We'll look for the official score to make sure they didn't give it an error and gave it a base hit. As I see the game changer catch up. It is a triple. So a beautiful 2-out triple by Riley Leininger. Brings up Andrew Nations. Andrew's 0 for 1 in the ballgame. Reached on an error by the first baseman, Pica. The first pitch to Nations. He fouls it off. Out of play to the left. 4 strike 1, 0-1 the count. Salazar from the stretch. The 0-1 pitch. Skips in there. Wild pitch. And that'll allow Leininger to score the 5th run of the ballgame for your Eagles. The 4th wild pitch of the night for Salazar. And the 5th run of the ball game for the Eagles. So the RBI, or the 2-out triple by Leininger, pays off after the wild pitch to score that run here in the bottom of the second. The 0-2 pitch, or the 1-1 pitch, misses low and inside for ball 2. 2-1 now the count to Andrew Nations. Reached on an error, stole second, scored a run in the bottom of the first. Swing and a miss here. Evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Salazar from the windup, the 2-2 pitch. Inside corner, called strike 3. And Nations down on strikes, looking for out number 3 here in the bottom of the second. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and no one left on base. After 2 complete innings, 5-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Connally. The second inning brought to you by Georgetown Lumber and Supply. Hometown service like none other. GeorgetownLumberandSupply.com. 9400 Brown Lane in Austin, 512-992-2510. Proud sponsors of Georgetown Eagle Baseball. More baseball in a moment on SHN. We go to the top of the third inning, brought to you by Nathaniel Funk and Edward Jones, proud sponsors of SHN Sports and Eagle Baseball. Fluid on to work his third inning here in the ball game. He'll face off against the 8-9-1 hitters. Antoine Scholes, the third baseman, steps in, fouls the first pitch. Back out of play for strike one. Juan Rojas and Felix Salazar also due up here in the top of the third for the Cougars. Georgetown 5, Connally 0. As we start the top of the third, the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 0-2, now the count to Scholes. Fluid looks in from the windup. The 0-2 pitch to Scholes. Fouls it off down the first baseline to stay alive. Scholes with a great play to retire Eli Hellman to start the bottom of the second inning. A line drive shot by Hellman. Scholes gloved it for the out. The 0-2 pitch, ball hit back up the middle. Hellman to his left, fields it, throws to first. Leininger goes up and gets it, comes down on the bag in time. 4 out number one, 6-3 on the putout. 4 out number one to retire Scholes, and that'll bring up the left fielder, number 15, Juan Rojas. Rojas steps in for his first at-bat of the evening. One out, the top of the third from the windup. The first pitch to Rojas. Inside corner, called strike one. 0-1 the count. 2 2/3 innings. 2 1/3 inning. Fluid's only allowed one hit. The 0-1 pitch fouled off back to the screen for strike two. 0-2 the count now to Juan Rojas. The pitcher Felix Salazar on deck for the Cougars. Fluid gets a sign from Herrera. The 0-2 pitch misses outside. Ball one. 1-2 the count. Seven pitches in the first, 12 in the second for Fluid. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Second strikeout of the ball game for David Fluid. And that's the second out of the top of the third inning. That'll bring up Felix Salazar. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Lined out to right center field in his first at bat. Jacob Faltasek took off to his right towards center field. Laid out, made the catch. Ground ball on the first pitch, out to shortstop. Hellman up with it. He'll fire across the diamond, but he overshoots the first baseman Leininger. And Felix Salazar will reach on the air by Hellman. E6 in the book. And that will give the Cougars their second base runner of the ball game. Alvaro Ruiz steps in. He lined out to Talon Ball back at the first inning at second base. 0 for 1 in the ball game. Steps in here with a runner on first and 2 outs. First pitch from Fluid. Low and outside, ball one. A pickoff attempt over to first. Salazar headed straight off too far. Dives back in safely. 1 ball, no strikes to Ruiz. 2 outs here in the top of the third. A runner on first. Flew it from the stretch. Another thrower. And Salazar dives back in. The catcher, Diego Arizpe. On deck. Should Ruiz reach base. The 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one. 1-1 now the count. To the shortstop, Ruiz. The 1-1 pitch. Misses low. Ball 2. 2-1 the count now. To Ruiz. Only 1 hit allowed this far by Fluid. Struck out 2. Has yet to walk anyone. The 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss by Ruiz. Evens the count out at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 2s across the board here for the Cougars. Runner at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Fluid comes set. The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And the Cougars are down here in the top of the third. No runs on no hits. 1 error. And 1 runner left on base. After 2.5 innings, 5-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over the Cougars. More Eagle baseball in a minute here on SHN. Stepping in here in the bottom of the third for the Eagles. Got a little surprise here in the booth. A couple of state champions come in and join us here in the booth. Jacob Faltasek will lead it off here for the Eagles in the bottom of the third. The first pitch from Salazar. Low and outside for ball 1. Faltasek reached in the first. Scored on a wild pitch. A 1-0 pitch, and Faltasek sends it into center field. The center fielder, De La Rosa, ranges back, and he'll make the catch. Backpedaling for out number 1. F8 in the book for out number 1, and that'll bring up the second baseman, number 20, Talon Ball. Oh, my goodness, they're coming out of the woodworks. Champions all over this diamond tonight as several of the 2022 Georgetown Eagle baseball state champs join us here tonight. Tell you what, coming into play, coming in to watch this group start their year out in district play. A lot to live up to after last season for the Eagles. Talon Ball ropes that one foul down the third baseline. Behind in the count now, no balls and 1 strike. Reese Herrera, the third batter on deck for the Eagles here in the bottom half of the third. 5-0 your score here early on in the ball game. Felix Salazar from the windup. The 0-1 pitch. Misses low and outside, ball 1. 5 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Eagles. No runs, 1 hit, 3 errors for the Cougars. The 1-1 pitch to ball. Outside corner called strike 2. Salazar gets the sign. The 1-2 pitch. Just misses low for ball 2. Diego Arizpe, a little hesitation there, expecting the strike 3 call. Doesn't get it. The count runs even now to the second baseman, Talon Ball. Salazar from the windup, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Second strikeout of the night for Salazar, and the second out of the inning for the Eagles. That'll bring up the catcher, Reese Herrera. He's 1 for 1 in the ball game. And an RBI single that scored at Faltasek back in the first inning. Steps in here with 2 outs and the base is empty in the bottom of the third. Salazar from the windup. The first pitch to Herrera. Outside corner. Called strike 1. Herrera steps back in from the right side. Jackson Rainey, the DH, waits on deck for the Eagles. Salazar with the 0-1 pitch. Skips this one in. 4-1. 1-1 now the count to the junior catcher, Reese Herrera. Speaking of catchers, Zachary Mozick, one of the returning state champs, in here tonight with us. The 1-1 pitch, Herrera pops it up into foul territory on the first base side. Salazar ranges over and makes the catch for out number 3. P1 in the book for out number 3, and the Eagles go in order here in the bottom of the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on after 3 complete. 5-0 your score. Nathaniel Funk and Edward Jones bring you Eagle baseball here in the third inning. Nathaniel Funk, former coach here at Georgetown and a proud supporter of Georgetown Eagle baseball. Quick timeout, back with more Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. Back here in the Borrow for Morrow broadcast booth for the top of the 4th inning. Fluid will be back on the mound for your Eagles, and now I'm joined here by Zachary Mozick, one of the 2022 champions for this Eagle baseball team. First pitch from Fluid just misses high for a ball. Facing off against Diego Arispe, Cesar Arispe, and David De La Rosa here in the top of the 4th inning. Fluid from the windup, the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Zach, how's it going in Baylor?
It's going good. It's just going right now. You know, rough season start because we're a young team, but we're getting after it. We're getting after it every day.
A little different competition at that level.
Oh, yeah.
Between
100%.
D1 and 5A high school baseball. Swing and a miss on the 1-1 pitch.
100%. You know, you don't really see much balls like that are barreled drop. It's kind of insane to me. He's like, oh, barrel ball. I'm like, okay, that's probably dropping. Oh, wait, never mind. It's definitely not dropping. You see all these outfielders that are crazy insane.
Arispe fouls it off back to the screen. Stays alive at 1 ball and 2 strikes here to lead things off in the top of the 4th for the Cougars. Georgetown leads it 5-0. A lot of different look here for this young team now for Georgetown. You guys graduated a class of 13 or 14 kids last year after winning the state title, and now a young Eagle team. As Fluid strikes out Arispe for out number 1. Here in the top of the 4th, 4th strikeout of the ball game for Fluid. But a new look on this team for this team. As you guys come back and look at this, some of the players that were on the team last year, Eli Hellman, Chance Pernicka back out here, Riley Leininger. How different do things look now for you guys as you're in your first year of college playing baseball to come back home and see this team back on the field?
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But, like, coming back and seeing all these guys, it's really awesome, you know. Like, seeing Eli, it was a great thing. I just went to the dugout before this, you know, and talking to all of them, it was awesome. You don't really see him much. And, like, you saw him every single day in practice and games and everything. Like, even on Sundays, like, we'll be hanging out somewhere doing something. It's crazy to see a whole new team on here, but it's also a good thing because, like, they got to, like, all the shoes they have to fill for us. But
absolutely. The bar you guys set last year, 35-7 year, run through the playoffs. A 2-0 pitch in there for a called strike to Cesar Arispe, the second baseman. He's 0 for 1 on the night. Make it 0 for 0. The sack bunt moved up his brother earlier in the ball game. And now he sends this one into center field. Devin Peterson gives chase, backpedaling, and makes the catch for out number 2, F8 in the book. And that'll bring up David De La Rosa here for the Cougars. The world of baseball in high school and going to class, how does that relate now in the world of college? Going to school up at Baylor, the schedule that they keep you on for sports and everything, how does that differ for you?
It's crazy because, like, when in season, like, you'll have practices Monday, Thursday, but Monday will be a really light practice because you had a full series, and you'll be, like, nonstop going. Like, and Friday morning you'll be there about, like, actually not even morning. Like, you'll be there like 2:15. You finish class about 1-ish. Be there at 2:15. You're not leaving the ballpark till about 10:30. There's a post-game meal and all that stuff, treatment, everything you get. And like, this is the same thing Tuesday. Like, you'll be there at the field 2:15. You're not leaving, and you have class the next day. Which thankfully we have an off day on Wednesdays, so it's kind of nice to come up here to come watch this team and watch new players who just they're on this field.
Fluid just strikes out De La Rosa on 3 quick pitches for out number 3. The Connally Cougars go in order here in the top of the 4th. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. After 3.5 innings, 5-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over the Cougars. More Eagle baseball in a moment on SHN. The 1-1 pitch misses low for ball 2. 2-1 now the count to Jackson Rainey. Rainey walked in the first inning. Steps in here 0 for 0 on the night. Here in the bottom of the 4th to lead it off for Georgetown. The 2-1 pitch misses low and inside. Ball 3. 3-1 now the count to the junior designated hitter Jackson Rainey. Fun to visit there with Zach Mozick. Landon Heil was here. 3-1 pitch hit into right field between the first and second base for Jackson Rainey. The 3rd hit of the night for the Eagles. Rainey leads it off. The leadoff single, and that'll bring up the top of the lineup, Devin Peterson. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Hit by a pitch in the first. Struck out in the second at bat of the first inning as the Eagles hit around. Rainey leads off first. Pinker will hold him on there. Peterson steps in. Rainey takes off running. The throw down is not going to be in time as Rainey slides in safely for the stolen base. One ball, no strikes to Devin Peterson. Salazar, long look in. Now comes set from the stretch. But Peterson will call time, step out. Well, Peterson back in from the right side. Salazar comes set, a look at second. Now he'll turn towards second, but no throw as Rainey slides back in. 5 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Eagles. No runs, 1 hit, 3 errors for the Cougars. The 1-0 pitch, low and outside into turf. Rainey's going to take off. He'll slide into third, and he'll be called safe there. Umpire signaling to Scholes, saying he missed it, but here comes the coach for Connally to ask about that one. So as it sits, the count 2 balls and no strikes to Peterson. But a discussion here. Kind of a tough angle, and not to the umpire's fault, but in that Rainey slid to the infield side of the bag. And when he slid to the infield side of the bag, it kind of blocked the view of where the tag went for Scholes. And the umpire said he missed him on the tag, and so Jackson Rainey gets credit. And so now the discussion, Coach Williams talked to Scholes, and now he'll walk off. The Eagles have no outs and a runner at third. A 2-0 count to Peterson, the infield in for the Cougars. The 2-0 pitch, ground ball back up the middle, off the glove of Salazar into center field. An RBI single for Devin Peterson. Scores the 6th run of the ball game for Georgetown.
Georgetown number 2, Eli Hellman.
And that'll bring up Eli Hellman. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Walked in the first and then lined out to Scholes at third base in the second inning. Throw over to first. Peterson dives back in safely. No outs. Runner at first. 6-0 your score, Georgetown. Trying to do more damage here in the fourth. Hellman steps in. The first pitch. Called a ball. The throw down. Not in time. As Devin Peterson steals another base for this Eagle team. Several stolen bases on the night for the Eagles. We'll look at that in between innings. But now another runner in scoring position with no outs in the bottom of the fourth. The 1-0 pitch on the outside corner for a called strike. 1-1 to count to Eli Hellman. Salazar comes set. The 1-1 pitch. Low and outside. Ball 2 now. 2-1 to count to the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Hellman back in the box, ready to go. Salazar will step off. Didn't like what he got from Diego Arizpe. Now back on the mound, ready to go. Salazar works from the stretch, and he'll throw back to second base. Peterson steps back on the bag safely. 2-1 to count to Eli Hellman. Brady Peters, Riley Leininger wait their turn here in the bottom of the fourth. The 2-1 pitch. In there for a called strike. 2-2 now the count to Eli Hellman. The 2-2 pitch, low and outside, ball 3, and now a full count to the senior shortstop, Eli Hellman. Hellman will get back in the box and wait as Salazar a look in. Peterson leads off second. The payoff pitch. Down in the turf, ball 4. And Hellman draws a walk. And now runners on first and second with no outs here in the bottom of the fourth. And Brady Peters will step in. Peters 0 for 2 here in the ball game. 8 stolen bases on the night so far for Georgetown. Peters squares the bunt. He'll take it for a called strike, but the double still in action for the Eagles. And Hellman will move up to second base. Peterson will move up to third. The 0-1 pitch on the corner, strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. To Brady Peters here with runners on second and third, no outs. The infield in for the Cougars. Fake throw back to second. Hellman scrambles back. Salazar comes set. The 0-2 pitch to Peters. Ground ball hit out towards short. The shortstop will field it, but he's going to throw across to first base. And that'll score Peterson from first base. Oh, an RBI for Brady Peters on the ground out.
Now playing for Georgetown, number 21, Riley Leiner.
6-3 on the putout for out number 1. That will move Hellman up to third base. With 1 out, in steps Riley Leiner, the first baseman. Leiner with a triple back in the second inning. Takes the first pitch across the outside corner for a called strike. 0-1 to count. Seven to nothing to score. Pitch to Leinecker. Inside corner. Called strike 2. 0-2 the count. Salazar comes set. Hellman leads off third. The 0-2 pitch. And Hellman will foul it back out of play. Stay alive in the at-bat. Riley back in from the left side. 80 pitches thrown this far by Salazar. The 0-2 pitch. Leininger check swing out to the mound. Salazar will throw to first base in time. And Hellman will have to stay at third base. 1-3 on the putout to record the out of Leininger for out number 2. And that'll bring up the left fielder, number 10, Andrew Nations. Reached on an error in the first, struck out looking in the second. Salazar comes set. The first pitch to Nations. Up and out for ball 1. 1-0 the count. Salazar look over at Hellman at third. The 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike. 1-1 to count now. The 1-1 pitch. Outside corner. For a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs now. Nations back in from the left side, ready to go quickly. 1-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner at third. The 1-2 pitch from Salazar. And that's going to hit Nations. So he'll take first base with 2 outs on the hit by pitch. Second batter hit by Salazar. And that'll bring up the right fielder, number 8, Jacob Faltasek. Faltasek will step in here. 0 for 2 on the night. Where I gave him the single that he beat the throw from Scholes. They did not. Said he reached on an error. And then flew out to center field back in the third. Steps in here. Pops the first one up into center field. The runner's off on contact. Cesar Arizpe drifts back into shallow center field and makes the catch. For out number 3, F8 in the book. Retire the Eagles here in the bottom of the 4th, but not before they get 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. After 4 complete, 7-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Connally. More Eagle baseball in a moment here on SHN. go to the top of the 5th inning. Georgetown leads it 7-0 over the Connally Cougars. Flewitt back on the mound. And a fly ball hit by Barroso. Out to second base. Talon Ball calls it and makes the catch for out number 1 here in the top half of the 5th. Barroso.
Next up for the Cougars, number 8, Miles Pica.
Tired for out number 1. That brings up Miles Pica, the first baseman. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Struck out back in the 2nd inning. Steps in here with 1 out in the top of the 5th. Flewitt from the windup. First pitch swinging, popped up right side of the infield. Herrera ranges over, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. P2 in the book to retire Pica. 2 pitches, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, and that'll bring up the third baseman, number 14, Antoine Scholes. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game as well as he grounded out to Eli Hellman back in the 3rd inning. Steps in here with the bases empty. And 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Scholes will go down to visit Coach Williams between third base and home plate. Now Scholes will step in from the right side. Flewitt from the windup. First pitch to Scholes. In there for a called strike. 0-1 the count. The 0-1 pitch to Scholes. Fouled off back to the backstop for strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. 49 pitches thrown so far by Flewitt. The next pitch, the 50th of the night. Here as he has 2 outs in the top of the 5th. The 0-2 pitch, ground ball hit out towards third. Peters gets it on a second hop, fires across the diamond. Beautiful throw by Brady Peters to retire the Cougars here in the top of the 5th. 5-3 on the putout. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. After 4.5, 7-0 your score. Georgetown leads it over Connally. More Eagle Baseball in a moment on SHN. The bottom of the 5th, the Eagles will bring up the 7, 8, 9 hitters. Ball, Herrera, and Rainey. Ball steps in from the right side, the first pitch, and he hits it down the third baseline. Just foul, about a foot foul on that line drive there. Ball 0 for 1 in the ball game. Walked back in the 1st inning. Struck out swinging in the 3rd. Salazar on to work his 5th inning of work for the Cougars. The 0-1 pitch misses low and outside, ball 1. 1-1 now the count to Talon Ball, the junior second baseman. Salazar from the windup, the 1-1 pitch. Breaking pitch sent into shallow left field, the shortstop back, but he can't get to it. And that'll be a leadoff single for Talon Ball. Well, the Eagles have their leadoff man aboard here in the bottom of the 5th. 5th hit of the night for the Eagles.
Next up for Georgetown, the catcher, number 16, Reese.
Reese Herrera will step in. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game. single and an RBI in the first. Popped out to the pitcher in the third. Steps in here with a runner on first and no outs. 3 runs after this point. The Eagles can keep the Cougars scoreless. If the Eagles can put 3 across, the run rule is in effect. First pitch, Herrera misses. A balk called there. Talon Ball was off and running with the pitch, but it was a balk. So 1-0 the count to Herrera. The 1-0 pitch. Into the batter's box. Nice backhanded stop there by Arizpe to keep that from going all the way back to the backstop. 2-0 the count to Reese Herrera. The 2-0 pitch, and that'll hit Herrera. So the third batter of the night hit by Salazar. That will bring up Jackson Rainey, the designated hitter. Cord Lawrence will come on to courtesy run for the catcher, Herrera. Jackson Rainey, 1 for 1 on the night. Walked back in the first inning. Singled and scored a run in the fourth. Stole 2 bases. First pitch to Rainey. Takes it on the inside corner for a called strike. The 0-1 pitch misses for ball 1. 1-1 the count. 11 stolen bases in the ballgame by Eagle base runners. Rainey with 2 of those. Salazar spins back towards second, but Talon Ball retreats quickly. 1-1 the count to Jackson Rainey. Here with no outs and runners on first and second, the bottom of the 5th. Salazar look at second, the 1-1 pitch. Misses low and inside. Arizpe keeps it close enough that the runners can't advance. 2-1 now the count. To Jackson Rainey. Devin Peterson waits on deck for the Eagles. Rainey back in the box. The 2-1 pitch. A ground ball up the middle, and it's going to be right between second and short. Talon Ball will come all the way around to score from second base. Got the shortstop. Ruiz gloved it, but got right past him. A bouncing ball up the middle. An RBI single for Jackson Rainey. His second hit of the ball game. Scores Talon Ball. The Eagles lead it 8-0. 6th hit of the ball game. Herrera moves up, or Cord Lawrence. The courtesy runner moves up to second. Rainey at first, and now a timeout by Coach Williams and maybe a pitching change. We'll take a quick break. Be back with more Eagle baseball on SHN in a moment.
Pitch and change for the Connally Cougars. Now on the mound to pitch is number 5. The center fielder moves into the mound. Number 5, David De La Rosa. The pitcher, Felix Salazar, goes back to shortstop where he played last night. And the shortstop for the ball game, Alvaro Ruiz, moves out to center field for the Cougars. In steps Devin Peterson with no outs and runners on first and second. First pitch, swinging right up the middle into center field, a base hit. Around it comes Jackson Rainey. Correction, that's going to be Cord Lawrence. Rainey moves up to second. Cord Lawrence moves around from second base to score the 9th run of the ball game on the RBI single by Devin Peterson. He was 2 for 3 on the night. Rainey up at second. Eli Hellman fouls that one back to the screen as you hear it on the crowd mic. A base hit to the outfield. That scores Jackson Rainey. The ball game is over on the run rule. The 0-1 pitch, up and in, ball 1. 1-1 the count. Eli Hellman, 0 for 1 on the night. He's walked twice, lined out to third in the second inning. Steps in here with runners on first and second. The 1-1 pitch, and Hellman sends it high into left field. The left fielder, Rojas, gives chase, and it's off his glove. He's not going to make the catch, and that's going to score Jackson Rainey all the way from second base, and that will be the ball game. An error on the left fielder, Rojas, is what's going to end this ball game, as that will score Rainey from second base. And the Eagles will get the 3rd run of the inning, and they'll be victorious. They let the play finish out. Hellman finishes at third base. Rainey and Peterson both score. So on the scoreboard it says 11-0. I believe they'll cut it at 10-0. Once the game ends, the next run shouldn't count, especially not since it wasn't a home run. But the Eagles are victorious here tonight. 10-0 your score. The Eagles beat the Connally Cougars 2 games in a row to move to 2-0 in district play. 7-10-1 on the year. Connally falls to 4-9 and 0-2 in district play. We'll take a timeout and go down and visit with Coach Vieira before we wrap things up. You're listening to Georgetown Eagle Baseball Live here on SHN. And we're live down here on the field with Coach Jordan Vieira. The winning way continues tonight. Another good victory for your Georgetown Eagles, 10-0 over the Connally Cougars. Timely hitting. A good pitching performance from the sophomore David Fluid through 5 good innings. Usually you go to the bullpen there in that last inning, and he just kept clicking. I think only 50 pitches on the night.
Yeah.
Good performance by your sophomore.
Yeah, David did a great job. He filled up the strike zone. He made pitches when he needed to, and we were able to play the defense behind him when we needed to as well. So overall, good defensive performance, good pitching job by David, and excited about what's going on here. Safe.
Jamison slides in. Yeah, one thing you talked about, you and I talked about last night before the game ever started was you said if we can play clean defensively.
Yeah.
One error last night, one error tonight, and an error by your senior shortstop, that one of the main cogs in that championship season last year. And even his face after he threw the ball, he turned around and looked at Talon Ball like, I know better.
Yep.
Clean baseball that you're wanting to see as this defense improves?
Yeah, you know, it's way better than it has been. We're taking steps in the right direction as far as being able to pick up the baseball and throw it to first base and being able to play clean. You know, for us, it's not that we're going to sit here and we're going to bang a bunch of runs in and be able to just have a prolific offense. So we got to be able to play quality defense, play clean defense, and give our pitchers the best chance they have behind them. And when they're throwing strikes and we're playing defense, we're going to be a pretty good ball club.
A little break here now for the rest of the spring break week for your boys, and then back at the grind. The normal Tuesday, Friday schedule as we get back into it next week against Pflugerville. What do we look for next week with Pflugerville?
Yeah, Pflugerville's another quality club, very similar to the Connally bunch, and looking forward to getting after it with those guys. We'll be back here on that Tuesday, I believe, and we're there on Tuesday and then back here on Friday, and looking forward to another quality performance from our guys, getting back out there and compete again.
And now you get to go enjoy the family. I see them all here tonight. The shout out last night, it works.
Yeah.
They're out here tonight to enjoy this victory, and now you get to enjoy some family time.
No doubt.
Congrats, Coach. See you next week.
See you, man.
Live here from Eagle Field, the Eagles victorious 10-0 over the Connally Cougars. Back-to-back wins moves them to 2-0 in district play. A good start to this young district season for this Eagle ball team. We'll close it out here tonight. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your spring break. We'll be back live Tuesday night at Pflugerville to take on the Pflugerville Panthers. But don't wait. Remember, make on your schedule now. Wednesday night, next Wednesday, we will be live at the Golden Rule, 606 South Church Street, the host of the Georgetown Eagle Baseball Coaches Show with Coach Vieira next Wednesday night from the Golden Rule. Come join us. We'll have it next week, the first one of the season, and then we'll go week to week after that and through the rest of the baseball season. Thanks for joining us tonight. Your Eagles victorious, and they move to 2-0 in district play. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend. And remember, it won't cost you a dime to be kind. Have a good night, everyone.